the group of white people at the bar start screaming at him, and they're like, 7, 7, 7, and they're pointing and screaming and going, 7, 7. And the black guy, he looks over at them and he's so confused. He's like, 7? And they go, you're number 7, come take a shot.
19, 19, 19. And I think that they're trying to guess how old I am. And I'm like, no, I'm not 19. And they say, no, no, no. You're the 19th black person that we've seen on Playa.
And every time I saw them, I was like, yay, you made it, dude, you know, good for you.
I recall walking through the desert and I would notice every once in a while I would see another black person and they would always acknowledge me. And I found this odd because in real life, or default world as we like to call it, you don't walk down the street and see another black person. They're like, hey, us, me and you, same complexion. All right, we're here.
I knew it was going to be another event, likely where I was going to be one of not many.
The concept that you can count the number of people of color in a city of 70,000 is crazy.
It's still feeding into the old stereotype to act as though that would be a proper way to look at it. It can't be just a white person's thing because I'm about as cool as a black person can get. You feel me? So it's got to be a thing for everybody.
Every year, thousands of people gather to create astounding works of art, dance to heart-pounding music, and delve into meaningful conversations.
We explore what it means to be human, to relate to one another, to love.
It's called Burning Man, and everyone is welcome.
It's held in the United States, one of the most economically and racially diverse countries in the world.
But that kind of diversity is not seen on Playa.
It looks pretty much like probably one of the whitest parties I've ever seen.
I've heard that people say that it's a white people thing. I've heard that in many cases.
The festival itself was started by whites for the most part. And people tend to have friends with people who are just like them. Not as a way to leave people out, but simply because these are the people who are around us.
And someone commented on her status update, oh, you're headed to the largest white gated community in the world. And to know that that's the perception of Burning Man to some people out there.
People that I've dated who are of a darker skin color would tell me that it's like a white people thing.
What I know about Burning Man is that it's a lot of people who get together in the desert to do something. I don't know what it is about it. It's kind of scary, kind of like cultish, you know? Why people love this place so much? What's going on over there?
It's frightening to be a black person, to go to a place in the desert that is surrounded by white people who are drinking and doing drugs and setting things on fire. And just, you know, culturally, we have a rough history with things like that. So the concept of going to the desert and experiencing that is definitely something that I guess raises some sort of flags for a lot of people of color.
People are always scared that the mob mentality will happen. Like something will happen and everybody's gonna blame the brown people. Okay. So I think that's like the ultimate nightmare of any brown person in an environment that, you know, there's not enough brown people per se.
One of the things that's kept African Americans safe is their safety in numbers. People tend to congregate together because they feel safe that way. So going out into isolated areas, that can bring up issues of safety for people. It's not necessarily that it is not safe, but simply that those issues are internalized within people.
Camping. Black people don't camp, I feel like white people camp. I feel like that's something that they do, or at least they have some kind of background in, have the tools and tents, but I just don't have all of that equipment. I don't know where they put it or how they, I don't get it. I don't know how to say it. People of color don't camp.
Your journey with drugs and alcohol is a choice. It's a choice that you get to make and anyone gets to make. But the beauty of it is there is that because no one is judged, no one is, nothing is forced on you, you truly get to make that choice.
There's almost no peer pressure. That's the beauty of Burning Man. You're not forced or compelled or coerced or anything like that to do something. So you'll see people drink, you'll see people doing drugs, but they don't expect you to feel that you have to do it with them.
So there's an entire village, there's an entire community there that's dedicated to clean and sober living if that's what you want to do.
If you don't do any drugs or do any alcohol, you can totally hang out with me. I don't do that. I go there and experience the art, experience, like I said, just the simple connection that I have with people.
The value of the experience they have there is not defined by what substance they do or don't use.
I was doing two very contradictory things at the same time. I was going to Burning Man to feel and be open, yet the process of going there with my family was very closed. Almost the first question that I had for them was, hey, so did you tell your mom? Like, did you tell your family about this?
If you want to express yourself and be free, you should be allowed to do so. It isn't restrictive on how much clothing you're wearing or how you're wearing it. The point of it is your self-expression. There are not sexual displays everywhere, but there could be. And if you're offended by it, you shouldn't go to Burning Man. But it isn't what Burning Man is about at all. It is about connecting with people that share the same values as you do.
On the other hand, I would say that maybe you need to think about that a little bit. And maybe that's why you need to come to Burning Man, to get more comfortable. Because it's not sexual display, it's sort of comfort, a sort of sexual comfort.
After a while, it's just people. You see enough of it, it's not the big deal, it's just people.
One of the main principles of Burning Man is radical inclusion. So that's people of any race, any background.
But there's a lot of people that won't even think about going because they think it's white only, all white, and it's really just all inclusive and everybody can just get something from it.
I think the biggest challenge with Burning Man being mostly a white people thing is that if it is that, it's because of our tendency as humans to be comfortable around folks we share characteristics with, but sometimes to a point where, we might tend to self-segregate.
I don't think it's a white thing or a black thing or, a hippie thing. It shouldn't be defined as that.
It's a thing of the people that show up. So if you are not a white person and you decide to go, then it's your thing too.
I'm not white, and I went to Burning Man twice. I've seen white people, I've seen black people, I've seen Asian people, I've seen Latino people, and all of them have a great time.
At Burning Man, we err on the sense that we want to see everyone as the same, but that doesn't invite us to see and really do what the principles say and really welcome in our differences.
Burning Man is not really a poor people's game at all. It takes a lot of money and it takes a lot of effort to get to Burning Man.
What we have is really more of a socioeconomic issue. Like I said, Burning Man for me is the refugee camp for the privileged class.
Just by the nature of them being able to take a vacation, it definitely spoke to people who kind of had the privilege to be able to take that kind of time and had the resources to make that journey.
You never want to see individuals cut out of possible social growth because of a financial situation.
I don't think anyone who cares about the potential of Burning Man likes the idea or likes the fact that Burning Man is just for people of privilege. I know I don't. Especially when we recognize that it doesn't have to be.
Financially, I know me. I would have made the money to go. Can I say that for other people? No. Should they have the opportunity to go? Hell yeah.
There's the low-income ticket program, but this is something a little bit more organic from the ground up. The theme camps, playing around with making specific invitations. So that's what we did. We tapped people in our network here in DC and said, hey, do you know any artists who might want to go to Burning Man or would be a good fit but might not be able to afford it and maybe are coming from an underprivileged background? And found a few people and ultimately found the perfect person, Quest Skinner.
There was no way to, from DC where we sit right now in the studio apartment to the playa, without all of the mentors and the help and my neighbor across the hall, JR, bringing me into that fold, and then Roman walking me through and introducing me to everybody.
We asked Burning Man to gift, like I said, gift a ticket if we found the right person, and they did. And our camp sort of supported Quest in coming, and she shined, and I think it worked out really well. I'd love to see other camps to do something like this or do their own version of this.
I think when out in the desert on a playa with one container, you realize we could all be underprivileged given one scenario, one disaster, natural or other.
If there's one community that can sort of solve the problem of barriers to entry, socioeconomic barriers, cultural barriers, it's this community. We've got a lot more room to expand there. And it's uncomfortable to address these questions, but I'm glad that the leadership of this community is thinking about these questions, because it shows that, no, we actually do think we can solve this in a way that feels good. We want to feel good about this community because this is the community that we care about. And this is the community that we invest ourselves in. And to feel good about it means finding answers to the questions that deep down bother us, like whether this is only for rich people. And I think we can do it. And so that's why we've taken this on.
I would describe Burning Man as some of the most creative, intelligent, kind, loving, caring, wonderful people in the world.
It's such an incredible personal journey that you go through. You learn so much about yourself.
What you go to Burning Man for is what you're gonna find. And I thought, oh my God, there are people like me in the world.
So I can see the world around me much different and clearer because I found more beacons, more individuals who were luminous.
It is magical in every sense of the word. It is the most magical experience I've ever had, and I think that most people who have been to Burned would agree.
Humanity at its best, where there's no malice.
There's very, very few places on earth where you can go and be unapologetically yourself. Burning Man is one of those places.
What everyone is going to love is that true, authentic you. Whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're Asian, no matter who you are.
It is welcome home to you, to the internal person that you are. And I feel as though, so many people of color, being black, Mexican, Spanish, whatever, across this whole threshold of life, need to experience that.
It is the most welcoming place that I think you will ever experience in your life.
See, if I didn't have any friends that I was interested in going, I probably wouldn't go by myself.
You got me. I'll go, and we'll grab other people too.
I'll be your friend. There's lots of people to go with and lots of people to be friends with.
If none of your friends want to go, you can come with me.
I didn't have anybody to go with before I went to Burning Man. And then I found a wonderful DC camp, and they're, very quickly they embraced me, and I embraced them, and we're like family now.
Find a burner group, start meeting people, and start meeting people who may already have an established theme camp, an established way of going. Start asking the questions, because burners, they love nothing more than to talk about Burning Man and to tell you how to get there.
I love hearing people say that it's a white people's thing because it doesn't make sense. The Playa changes everybody to one color.